The day before the wedding, I received wedding photos of my husband with someone else. Looking at the two in the photo, I calmly proposed divorce to Bryce. Bryce's little assistant called me crying, begging me not to be angry. "Sister Vivian, it's all my fault, I sent it to the wrong place, please don't argue with Bryce." Over the phone, Bryce gently comforted her, "It's okay, she won't be angry, she can't leave me." I hung up the phone, left a divorce agreement, and turned to leave. When Bryce returned, I had already packed my things and was directing the movers who were carrying stuff. He stood at the door, glanced at the movers, and finally fixed his gaze on me. "Vivian, stop making a fuss. How old are you to still play the running away from home trick?" His tone was displeased, and his face clearly showed impatience. In the past, if he was angry, I would definitely go to him, show concern, ask for the reason, and finally comfort and encourage him. But now, I don't want to force myself anymore. I looked back at him, picked up the divorce agreement from the table, and walked towards him. "You're back just in time. Sign this, and when we have time, we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau." Bryce lowered his eyes to look at the agreement in my hand, his brows furrowing again. "Vivian, is it necessary? Wendy just sent the wrong photos. Because of your phone call, she cried in my office for half an hour today. She's still just a child, why do you have to make things difficult for her?" Wendy, Bryce's personal assistant. "She is young, beautiful, sweet-talking, romantic, and sensible. She fits Bryce's imagination of a wife very well." Seeing that I didn't speak, Bryce also restrained his temper a bit. He took the divorce agreement from my hand, tore it up casually, and threw it into the trash can at the door. "If you mind those photos, I can dispose of them." "Do I mind?" If it were a normal person, seeing their fiancé, who is about to get married, taking intimate wedding photos with another woman, they would definitely mind, even get angry. But I didn't. I didn't mind, nor did I get angry. I just felt numb for a moment, and then relieved. "No, you can do whatever you want, it has nothing to do with me," I said. "Vivian, stop throwing a childish tantrum. After the wedding tomorrow, apologize to her, and this matter will be over." Hearing this, I couldn't help but sneer. "Apologize? I apologize to her?" My eyes were full of mockery as I looked at Bryce and said, "Do you think she deserves it?" Bryce's face darkened completely, and he warned me in a low voice, "Vivian, don't be ungrateful. You must apologize to Wendy tomorrow, otherwise." "Otherwise what? Beat me up, or kick me out of the C family?" I interrupted him, "Actually, there's no need for such trouble. Let's divorce, cancel tomorrow's wedding, or you two can proceed with it." Seeing my firm attitude, Bryce knew that the soft approach wasn't working, so he went straight to the hard one. "Vivian, are you sure you want to leave? If you dare to step out of this door today, don't even think about coming back, and the C family will have nothing to do with you anymore." I frowned at the man I had loved for many years. I didn't know when he had become like this. It was clearly the most familiar face, but the words he said and the things he did were so unfamiliar. Bryce thought I couldn't leave him, couldn't leave the identity, status, and money that the C family gave me. But in reality, he didn't even know what I wanted most. I pushed him away, pulled my suitcase, and left straight away. "Vivian, you only have your current life because of me and the C family. You should also look at how old you are. If you leave me, what man would want you?" I had clearly said I didn't love him anymore, and I had chosen to leave. But when I heard Bryce's last sentence, my heart still ached so much that I couldn't breathe. Actually, what Bryce said is not wrong. All these years, I had been eating and drinking from the C family, and it is precisely because of the C family and his existence that I can have my current good life. Bryce and I met in the orphanage. I am 4 years older than him, so during those years in the orphanage, I always took care of him. Therefore, he was very dependent on me, to the extent that when the C family found him, he cried and said he didn't want to leave me. It was then that I learned Bryce was the lost eldest son of the C family. Because of Bryce, the C family had no choice but to bring me back to the C family as well. At first, my status in the C family was very awkward. But after the C family learned about our life in the orphanage for those years, they treated me much better. With the help of the C family, I successfully graduated from university. After graduating from university, I originally planned to leave the C family. It was Bryce's confession that disrupted all this. He said he loved me, he wanted to be with me forever, and begged me not to leave. The C family thought that I was reluctant to lead the luxurious life of the C family, so I deliberately seduced Bryce. From then on, the C family's attitude towards me changed. Under Bryce's threats and hunger strike, the C family still compromised. But to prevent future troubles, the C family made me sign an agreement. I was not allowed to work at C Corporation, I could not interfere with any project decisions of the company, even if something happened to Bryce in the future, I had no right to inherit his property. I briefly hesitated between my own future and Bryce, then decisively signed the agreement and chose to go on with Bryce. We got the marriage certificate, but did not hold a wedding. After all, in the eyes of outsiders, I was supposed to be the adopted daughter of the C family, and if it got out, the C family would lose face. At that time, Bryce held my hand and solemnly told me, "Vivian, wait for me. When I fully control the C family and have the say, I will announce to the whole world that I love you. Then I will give you a grand and romantic wedding to make up for our current regrets." At that time, I smiled and nodded, and because of his promise, I looked forward to our happy and beautiful future. Because of this promise, I steadfastly stayed by his side for 5 years. I watched him grow step by step, watched him slowly become the CEO in others' mouths. Just when I was happy for him, Wendy appeared. She quickly occupied most of Bryce's heart, and by the time I realized it, it was already too late. Wendy is a very resourceful person. She just needs to act coquettishly, behave obediently, and say a few nice words to make Bryce laugh heartily. In contrast, I am dull and uninteresting, only knowing how to do laundry, cook, and take care of him. The way he looked at me gradually cooled, losing love and gaining disgust. Just when I thought that my relationship with Bryce was coming to an end, he told me that he wanted to hold a wedding to make up for the regrets of the past. Because of this sentence, my love for him came back to life, naively thinking that he was just playing with Wendy. Until I accidentally saw his phone, where he complained to Wendy, "She is really boring, full of old-fashioned taste, really disgusting." What followed were the wedding photos of Bryce and Wendy. And I, who have been married to him for many years, don't even have a single photo together. At that moment, I completely gave up, recognized and accepted the fact that Bryce no longer loved me. I thought, perhaps 5 years ago, I shouldn't have agreed to him. Our beginning was a mistake. But fortunately, it's not too late to turn back now, everything is still in time. I went back to a small house I bought myself, packed up my things, took a shower, and had a good sleep. The next day, I was awakened by the ringtone of the phone. I groped for my phone and pressed answer. The next second, Bryce's voice full of anger came through, "Vivian, where the hell are you? The wedding is about to start. Even if you're throwing a tantrum, you should have some sense of proportion. So many people are here today, are you deliberately trying to embarrass me and the C family?" Hearing Bryce's words, my disappointment in him increased a bit more. In Bryce's heart, I don't know where I stand anymore, not even as important as his face. The wedding I once looked forward to so much has long since changed in nature. "Bryce, I made it very clear yesterday that I want a divorce. It's you who are being self-righteous, thinking I'm joking. Since you're willing to lose face, then take the C family with you to lose face." "Vivian." "That's enough," Bryce shouted my name through the phone, "I order you to come here immediately. This is your last chance. Don't force me to use other means." "Other means?" Finally, Bryce is going to use the tactics he learned in business on me. My heart couldn't help but ache, and my eyes felt a bit sore. Can a person really change so much? I recalled when we were in the orphanage, because he was always silent and didn't speak, he was always isolated. Only when he was with me would he say a few more words. At that time, he said, "Sister, will we be together forever?" I answered him, "Of course, as long as Bryce is willing, we can be together forever." But now, he no longer needs me. After my thoughts returned, I found that the phone had been hung up long ago. I didn't pay attention and tried hard to control my emotions so that tears wouldn't fall. I stared blankly at the ceiling, my mind in a mess, like a ball of wool without a thread end. I don't know how long it had been when there was a knock at the door. Opening the door, I saw several bodyguards standing there. The leader was Bryce's secretary, Leo. "Leo, why are you here?" Leo nodded slightly and said with a hint of apology, "Hello, Miss Vivian, Bryce asked us to bring you over. Please cooperate." I glanced at the burly man behind him. In this situation, whether I cooperate or not, the result is the same. So, I might as well go and take this opportunity to clarify things while everyone is there. Wait a minute, I'll change my clothes. After saying that, I turned back to the room, changed into a set of clothes, quickly washed my face, and went out with them. But when I arrived, the wedding had already started. I was taken to the backstage and quietly watched the two on stage. I don't know whose idea it was, but it was Wendy wearing a mask to replace me. The host was making the vows, and Bryce had a sweet smile on his face. "Now, please have the bride and groom kiss." The two looked at each other and kissed amidst the blessings and applause of the crowd. I don't know what Bryce really wants. Did he go through all this trouble to bring me here just to watch them get married, just to watch them kiss? For the first time, I realized that Bryce could be so cruel. Suddenly, the mask on Wendy's face fell off. After seeing her true face, the crowd couldn't help but question, what's going on? This bride doesn't seem to be Vivian. Could it be that she had plastic surgery? This woman is Bryce's assistant, right? I've seen her before. How did the bride become her? What is the C family up to? Could it be that the bride ran away, and they found someone to replace her, but it was exposed? There were all kinds of voices from the audience. Bryce and the C family's faces were very ugly. On the other hand, Wendy had already put on a tearful expression and said to Bryce beside her in a low voice, "Bryce, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I didn't wear the mask properly," which caused everyone to discover the truth. Bryce looked irritated but still patiently comforted her, "It's okay, it's not your fault. It's all because of that guy Vivian making a mess. If she had obediently come to the scene, how could this have happened?" A female reporter was the first to ask, "Bryce, the one beside you doesn't seem to be Miss Vivian, right? Where is Miss Vivian? As the bride today, did she not come to the scene?" Seeing someone start, other reporters followed suit. "Bryce, the one beside you is not Miss Vivian, but you just kissed her. What is your relationship with this lady?" "Bryce, Miss Vivian didn't come to the scene today. Is it related to this lady beside you?" The reporters spoke one after another, asking questions one after another, not giving Bryce a chance to answer. These questions were indirectly asking Bryce if Wendy was his mistress and if I didn't come because he had a mistress. Bryce quickly calmed down and replied, "The one beside me is my assistant. Vivian couldn't attend today's wedding due to health reasons, but in order not to delay the time that everyone had already set, we had to find someone to replace her." Hearing this, I couldn't help but want to laugh. As expected of Bryce, who has been in business for a long time, he quickly gave a perfect reason. "I think it's time for me to appear." When I appeared, it caused exclamations from the crowd. After all, I was perfectly fine, with no sign of illness, which was like slapping Bryce's words in the face in public. "When did you come?" Bryce asked. I replied expressionlessly, "I came when you were passionately kissing." One sentence instantly made Bryce's face turn pale. His lips moved a few times, wanting to say something but not uttering a word. Finally, the host came out to smooth things over. "It seems that this is our bride today. The real bride has arrived, so the previous wedding rehearsal is officially over. Now, please give a warm round of applause again and welcome the bride and groom to enter." I glanced at the host, who was sweating profusely. I suppose today was the most difficult wedding he had ever hosted in his life. I was pulled down to change clothes and quickly had makeup applied. In less than 10 minutes, I was pushed back onto the stage. Bryce was wearing a custom-made high-end suit, exuding an air of nobility from head to toe, walking towards me step by step. He stood beside me and warned me in a low voice, "Don't make trouble, complete this wedding properly." I ignored his warning and stood aside without speaking. When the host handed me the microphone, I directly said, "Hello everyone, I am Vivian. Today, I originally didn't want to come to this wedding. After all, Bryce and I have already broken up, but in order not to let some people use my name to do disgusting things, I still came. My purpose here is very simple: to announce my breakup with Bryce, secondly to send my wedding blessings to him and Miss Wendy, and finally to thank the C family for their help and cultivation over the years. I finished speaking. Everyone, enjoy your meal and drink, goodbye." After saying that, I left without caring about the gossiping eyes of the crowd. Bryce was stunned on the spot, watching my departing back, unable to speak. When he reacted, he hurriedly chased after me, and because he was in such a hurry, he fell down. His clean and tidy suit became dirty and messy as a result. "Vivian, stop," he shouted from behind, but I had no intention of stopping at all. "Someone, stop her." At Bryce's command, several bodyguards quickly moved and surrounded me. The crowd at the wedding scene had no idea there was still this drama to come, and they all craned their necks, staring straight at the direction of the auditorium door. I turned to look at him and said sarcastically, "Is there something? Could it be that Bryce wants to force me to stay and marry you? In broad daylight, with so many people present, is Bryce sure he wants to do this?" "No, it's not like that." Bryce stumbled towards me. He had realized that I was not joking. From the moment I stood on stage and said those words, he knew that I had completely given up and wanted to leave him. This was the first time he felt panicked since becoming the head of the C family, the first time he felt that something was out of his control. "Vivian, you can't leave. You promised me before that we would be together for a lifetime. You can't break your word." Bryce reached out and grabbed the corner of my clothes, speaking incoherently. I looked at him puzzled, and under his nervous and expectant gaze, I pulled my clothes out. Perhaps I used too much force. Bryce's nail broke, and blood quickly gushed out, dripping from his fingertips onto his suit. The white suit was dotted with blood, like a rose blooming in the snowy land. If it were before, seeing him injured, I would definitely be extremely nervous, wishing to bear it tenfold or hundredfold for him. But now, I just looked at him quietly and said indifferently, "The promise from the past became invalid when you abandoned me for someone else. When you're done with your busy schedule, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get divorced when we have time, so that I won't occupy the position of your wife and make your beloved woman feel wronged." "No, I didn't," Bryce cried out. "My wife will always be you, only you, Vivian." If it were the past me, hearing Bryce admit my identity in front of everyone, I would definitely be so happy that I couldn't sleep for 3 days, but now, it doesn't matter anymore. "But, I don't want to be your wife anymore, not at all." After saying that, I pushed away the bodyguards in front of me and left with big strides. "Vivian, you. That's enough." Bryce's words were interrupted by his father before he could finish. With a look from him, someone quickly pulled Bryce away. Today's wedding was destined to be a farce and could only end hastily. I thought that after I made such a scene, Bryce and the C family would know my attitude and definitely agree to divorce. Unexpectedly, Bryce was still unwilling to give up. He firmly believed that I was just angry, just throwing a tantrum. He sent me a message, "Vivian, I'm sorry, I know I was wrong. Before, I was too busy and neglected your feelings. I won't do it again in the future. I will definitely treat you well and respect you. If you're still angry, then take a few days to calm down and rest. I won't disturb you. When you're in a better mood, tell me, and I'll pick you up to go home." I read his message, turned off the screen, and threw the phone aside. I was very puzzled about who Bryce was pretending to be affectionate for now. Immediately after, it was a call from Bryce's father. "Where are you? Come to the C family mansion immediately. Today's incident has already made the hot search. You must cooperate with the C family to handle this matter." As soon as the phone was connected, Bryce's father's cold tone came through, like a superior giving orders to a subordinate. "Dad, don't talk to her like that. She's just in a bad mood." "It's okay, I can handle it." It was Bryce's voice. Bryce's father's cold voice finally had a slight fluctuation. "You shut up. She made you and the C family lose face today, and you're still speaking for her. Do you still have me, your father, and the C family in your eyes?" I didn't want to listen to the father and son playing a double act, so I interrupted. "If you want to chat, chat among yourselves. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up." "Wait." Bryce's father switched back to his superior mode and warned, "You must come immediately, otherwise don't blame me for using other means." TSK. As expected of father and son, their rhetoric is exactly the same. The other means they mentioned are nothing more than finding someone to tie me back. Since I can't change it, I might as well go with the flow. I hung up the phone, got up, and went straight to the C family mansion. When I arrived, the C family members were all there, but what surprised me was that Wendy was also there. As soon as Bryce saw me, he quickly got up and came to greet me. "Vivian, you're here. Have you eaten?" His untimely concern not only made me feel unacceptable, but even the C family members thought he was possessed. "Bryce, come here." Bryce's father said coldly, then turned his gaze to me. "Vivian, I think the C family has treated you well, but now you have made the C family lose face like this. What is your intention?" I chuckled. What intention could I have? I just want to divorce Bryce. Today's scandal wasn't caused by me. I told him my thoughts long ago. It was he who was self-righteous and thought I was just joking. I didn't even want to come to this wedding play. If he hadn't had people forcibly bring me over, how could this have happened? Upon hearing this, Bryce's father shot a sharp look at Bryce. Bryce lowered his head in shame, not daring to look at his father. But Bryce's father knew in his heart that Bryce was his son, so he could only vent his anger on me. "Anyway, you are also responsible for what happened today. Now, cooperate with Bryce to issue a statement to solve it, and the rest will be handled by professionals." "Why should I agree?" I asked back. "Does this matter have anything to do with me?" "You are insolent." Bryce's father stood up and threw the teacup in his hand directly at me. I tilted my head to dodge and turned to look at him coldly. After a long silence, my abrupt laughter rang out in the C family mansion. "I am insolent?" I raised my eyes and scanned everyone's faces one by one, finally nodding as if in agreement. "Since that's the case, then I'll show you what real insolence is." Before the words fell, I picked up the teapot in front of me and smashed it towards Bryce's father. Although Bryce's father dodged, the spilling tea water drenched him. Before everyone could react, I picked up the cake in front of me and smeared it on Bryce's mother's face. "Ah!" A scream brought everyone back to their senses, and they all shouted, "Crazy, she's simply crazy. Someone, quickly pull her down." Wendy was the first to get up and run towards me. I could tell at a glance that she wanted to show off, so I didn't hold back at all. I slapped Wendy across the face, and before she could react, I kicked her again, sending her flying. "Yes, I am crazy. In all these years in your C family, which day was I not crazy? If it weren't for you hypocritical people in the C family forcing me, would I be crazy?" I cursed while smashing everything I could see and pick up. Finally, I looked at a small wine cabinet on the side and rushed over to push it down. The cabinet fell, and the wine inside dropped to the ground, with glass shards and wine splashing everywhere, scaring everyone present so much that they dared not speak, and even the bodyguards dared not approach me. With red eyes, I looked at the C family members and cursed, "You old things, do you think I care about your C family's junk? If it weren't for him shamelessly confessing to me and begging me to stay, I would have left long ago. And you, as expected of a mistress, even when you want to marry him, you only dare to use my name. Disgusting thing, do you deserve to use my name?" After saying that, I still felt unsatisfied and kicked the person lying on the ground hard again. "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and drive her out." Bryce's mother reacted and shouted at the bodyguards on the side. The bodyguards quickly stepped forward, and I slapped their hands away. Don't touch me, I'll leave by myself. If it weren't for these disgusting things forcing me to come, do you really think I love coming here? I was almost at the door when Bryce belatedly reacted and hurriedly chased after me. Vivian, you can't leave. Bryce reached out to block my way and patiently soothed. Vivian, I know you've been wronged recently. I apologize to you. Can you stop making a fuss? You don't need to worry about today's matter, I can handle it. Can you stop saying angry words about divorce? I frowned at him, the mockery in my eyes undisguised. Bryce, if you could straightforwardly separate from me, I would still respect you as a man, someone who can pick up and let go. But your current retention is really disgusting and makes you look very hypocritical. Upon hearing this, Bryce's tears fell instantly. He looked at me blankly and asked, do you hate me so much now? I shook my head. I don't hate you, I just think it's unnecessary. Everyone here is yours, there's no need for you to set up this affectionate persona. It's quite fake and hypocritical. After saying that, I pushed the person in front of me away. Bryce was pushed to the ground, and his hand pressed on the glass shards from the broken wine bottle earlier, causing blood to flow quickly. He looked at my disappearing back, and the suppressed crying was completely released. He was sure that we were completely over. In the following days, I tried to contact Bryce to get divorced. But Bryce always refused me with various excuses. Helpless, I had to go to his door to find him. When he saw me, he was so scared that he quickly got up and ran upstairs. When the C family members saw it was me, they all widened their eyes and asked what I wanted. I'm looking for Bryce to go with me to get divorced. Since he won't see me, I can only come to find him. Are you really going to divorce Bryce? Bryce's mother asked me suspiciously. I rolled my eyes at her. At this point, can you please stop with that self-righteous look? Do you think that everything I said and did before was just jealousy, to attract the attention of Bryce and your C family? Bryce's mother's face turned pale, and she turned her head away guiltily. Alright, I won't waste words with you. What I've decided won't change. As I spoke, I took out a divorce agreement from my bag and placed it on the table. This is the divorce agreement. Have Bryce sign it, and when we have time, we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get the divorce done. Then, once this annoying person leaves, your C family will be at peace. Bryce's mother quickly picked up the divorce agreement and flipped through it. When she saw that I was willing to leave with nothing, she was also stunned for a moment. I am willing to leave with nothing, not taking anything from your C family, as long as he signs the divorce quickly. Okay, we will persuade Bryce. Just after Bryce's mother finished speaking, Bryce came running down from upstairs. He snatched the divorce agreement from Bryce's mother's hand, tore it up, and threw it away. I won't divorce. Give up on that idea. Bryce stiffened his neck and looked at me, like a brave warrior. I chuckled. It's okay, then I'll sue. I have plenty of time to play with you. Let's see if your C family can save face then. Upon hearing this, a trace of discomfort flashed across the faces of the C family members present. Vivian, do you really want to get rid of me that much? Bryce looked at me with a hurt expression, as if I were a heartless person. I rolled my eyes speechlessly and said impatiently, you should understand that it's not me who caused the current situation. Bryce was at a loss for words, only left a sentence saying he wouldn't divorce and turned to go upstairs again. I watched his back as he went upstairs and added, 3 days. If you haven't thought of an answer after 3 days, I don't mind suing. After saying that, I turned and left. I knew that with the C family's face-loving nature, they would definitely try every means to persuade Bryce to divorce within 3 days. If it really came to me suing, then the C family would truly lose face big time. Just as I was quietly waiting for the 3-day countdown, I suddenly received a call from the hospital saying that Bryce was hospitalized. I didn't know what he was up to, but I still went. Bryce was lying on the bed with a pale face and 4 needles in his hand. When he saw me coming, he smiled. I knew you still care about me. No, I just came to see if you're still alive. If you are, find time to go get the divorce certificate. Bryce's smile froze. and tears instantly fell. Vivian, I really regret it. I beg you, don't leave me, okay? I sighed helplessly and shook my head. No, you can't live without me now, you're just used to my presence. After some time, you'll get used to living without me. Miss Vivian, good news. A doctor pushed the door open and walked in with a smile. He looked at the report in his hand and said, Miss Vivian, congratulations, you're pregnant. The baby is already 8 weeks old. This was the doctor who regularly did my full body checkups at the hospital before. Previously, the results of each checkup were sent directly to my phone, but unexpectedly, this time he chased me here. Upon hearing this, Bryce's tears burst with hope. He reached out and tugged at my clothes, smiling. Vivian, did you hear that? We have a child. This child is ours. We're going to be parents. I was also stunned by this news and couldn't react for a long time. What's wrong? Aren't you happy? We have a child, you should be happy. Bryce looked delighted, paused, and then tentatively said, Vivian, we already have a child. Let's be good from now on, and our family of 3 will be happy together, okay? I tried hard to suppress my emotions and after a long while, I said, this child. I want to abort it. What? Bryce widened his eyes and looked at me with a ghostly expression. What are you talking about? This is our child. Why do you want to abort it? Vivian, I don't agree. I am the child's father, and I won't let you abort this child. I just think that if this child is born into a family without love and with absent parents, it will be very hard for him. I looked at Bryce and said very seriously, with or without this child, we are not suitable to be together, so divorce is inevitable. And as the child's mother, I have the absolute right to decide whether to give birth or not. You have no right to stop me. Bryce opened his mouth, wanting to say something but not uttering a word. I turned and left, and after going out, I asked the doctor, how is his health? I am very conflicted now. I am sure I don't love Bryce anymore, but this child tightly binds me and him together. The doctor sighed lightly. Bryce had been on a hunger strike a few days ago and was sent to the hospital after fainting. After examination, it was found that he fainted due to malnutrition and dehydration. Hunger strike? I didn't ask further. After seeing off the doctor, I happened to run into the C family members who came to visit Bryce. Bryce's mother looked at me, hesitant to speak. Vivian, you're pregnant? I nodded. I just found out. Then do you know why he went on a hunger strike? Bryce's mother asked again. We advised him to divorce, but he refused, and for this, he went on a hunger strike for 3 days, directly sending himself to the hospital. I remained silent but still expressed my thoughts. I just want a divorce. As for the rest, you can handle it. After saying that, I left without looking back. As a result, just as I left the hospital, I met Wendy at the door. She was limping, and when she saw me, she immediately rushed over. I was afraid she would stage an accident, so I quickly dodged. Are you very proud now? He's so desperate for you that he fired me and wants to drive me away completely. I looked at her with an expression as if she were an idiot. Did I drive you away? She was stunned for a moment, and I continued, it was he who drove you away because he was tired of you. I was with him for 5 years, and later he still found you. It's not that he chose not to be with someone because of someone else, but that he wanted someone and gave up on someone else. There's no causal relationship, it's all his choice. Wendy looked at me blankly, then suddenly covered her face and broke down crying. I did so much for him, I thought I was in his heart, but now, he wants to drive me away, and for your sake, he even broke one of my legs. Why is it all his decision? Passers-by, patients and medical staff saw the scene and stopped to watch. I felt that Wendy's mental state was not right, so I quickly called security. From that day on, I never saw Wendy again. I think it was the C family who took action to send her away. Since Bryce knew I was pregnant, he wished he could send me 800 messages a day. I thought about it seriously and still decided not to keep this child. It's not that I don't love this child, on the contrary, I love this child very much. But as I said to Bryce in the hospital, the child needs to be born into a complete family. Both he and I have experienced life in an orphanage, and I don't want my child to go through that kind of life again. And I am determined to divorce Bryce, so thinking this way, it's better not to keep this child. I gently stroked my belly, seeming to feel the leap of life. Baby, don't blame Mom for being cruel. Mom loves you very much, so Mom doesn't want you to suffer with me. It's not that I haven't thought about giving birth to the child and letting the C family raise him. With the C family's level, raising a child is too easy. But I can't guarantee that the C family will treat him well for a lifetime. Just like Bryce also promised to love me for a lifetime, but the result. If Bryce has new relationships and other children later, what will happen to this child? In the C family, I have witnessed with my own eyes the means and ways they used to make Bryce grow up, which were very tiring and hard. So, let's forget about this child. I aborted the child when I was a little over 3 months pregnant. By the time the C family learned about it, it was too late. When I woke up, Bryce was sitting by my bedside with red eyes. He asked me hoarsely, "Are you so cruel that you won't give me even a little hope?" He knew that with the child gone, there was no possibility between us anymore. I recuperated for a while. After my body recovered, I went to Bryce again and mentioned divorce to him. He still refused to agree no matter what. I then went to Bryce's father, and later, I don't know what methods the C family used, but they made Bryce agree. Bryce and I smoothly got divorced. It wasn't leaving with nothing. Bryce gave me a sum of money and some real estate. Altogether, it probably amounts to several $100 million. After getting the divorce certificate, Bryce said he wanted to talk to me. I agreed. When I arrived, he was sitting by the window in a daze, with a piece of paper on the table with 2 names written on it, Anthony. Linda. These are the names I chose for the child. If it's a boy, Anthony. I remember you said in the orphanage that if it's a girl, it would be Linda. Sounds nice, right? Unfortunately, they won't be used. I remained silent. He turned his head to look at me. His eyes suddenly looked very sad. He sniffed and said, "I know you're going abroad to complete what you didn't finish back then." Yes. With the C family's means, it's easy to find out about my situation. I'm sorry, I delayed you all these years. Bryce apologized to me sincerely. Actually, when I knew you were leaving, I didn't want you to leave, so I chose to do that. But you stayed for me, and I didn't protect you well, letting you suffer so much disdain and indifference. It's my fault, I'm sorry. I smiled. I knew very well that Bryce had always known my status in the C family and how others talked about me. But he never argued for me. At that time, I thought that those people were his family, and perhaps he had his difficulties. But now, it seems that I wasn't worth him doing that for me. It's okay, saying these now has no meaning. If that's what you wanted to say, then you don't need to say it. I don't have much time, I should go. Bryce called out to me, "Vivian, can I hug you one more time?" I turned back to look at him, smiled, and said, "I don't think it's necessary. Take care of yourself." After saying that, I left without even saying goodbye. When I went out, I met the C family members. They looked at me strangely. Bryce's father looked at me and said with some difficulty, "When are you coming back?" "Not sure. If everything goes well, I probably won't come back." After saying that, I ignored them and turned to leave. The next day, before checking in, I heard someone calling me. Turning around, it was Bryce. "Vivian, I will wait for you. I will always wait for you, no matter how long, I am willing to wait." I shook my head and refused him with my actions. Sitting on the plane, I watched the place where I had lived for 30 years gradually become smaller and completely disappear from view. But my future became clearer and clearer. Bryce's perspective. I never thought that Vivian would leave me. I am 25 years old this year, and for nearly 20 years, I have spent time with her. I have long regarded her as my reliance, my family. Because the more familiar, the more indifferent. After Vivian left, I carefully recalled the bits and pieces of our time together over the years. From the beginning of my memory, she was by my side, protecting me as a sister. I remember when I was a child in the orphanage, because there was no money, many children couldn't eat enough, and the clothes they wore were passed from one to another. Those days were very hard and difficult, but because she was by my side, I felt inexplicably at ease. Later, as I grew up, my appearance became more handsome. But for an orphan with no money and no power, having a handsome face was a sin. I remember very clearly that in junior high school, because of this face, I was pursued by many girls and also isolated and targeted by many boys. But I never said anything. At that time, only the dean mother and Vivian were by my side. The dean mother was in poor health, and Vivian, being older than me, was already at the critical moment of her senior year. So I chose to endure silently. Until one time, Vivian accidentally discovered me crying secretly, and after asking for a long time, she learned about my situation. That was the first time in my life that I saw her angry. She hit someone, and the other party's parents demanded compensation and for her to be expelled. In the office, everyone stood against us. Only she stood in front of me and said fiercely, "If you want to expel me, then expel me. You'd better pray that you never appear in front of me again in your life. I'm willing to risk my whole life, to drag all of you down with me. If you don't believe me, let's try and see." Perhaps her appearance at that time was too terrifying, or perhaps because Vivian was a good student at school. In the end, this matter was left unsettled. At that time I was timid and weak, and could only hide behind her and be protected by her. Later, when I was brought back to the C family and had the strength and confidence, I secretly took revenge on those people. That was the first time I felt the pleasure brought by money and power. I liked that feeling very much, even to the extent of being intoxicated by it. I became more and more dissatisfied and increasingly disliked Vivian. Because she always disciplined me, said some irrelevant things, and meddled in my affairs in life. It was at this time that I met Wendy. She was almost a perfect listener except for having no money, or rather, a sycophant. I actually knew many of Wendy's behaviors. But when they came out of her mouth, things would change in nature. With her around, I could save a lot of worry. When did Vivian discover Wendy's existence? Probably that time when I was drunk, and Wendy was supporting me back, and she happened to see us. I was drunk, but my mind was clear. Wendy provoked Vivian, saying, "So you're Bryce's girlfriend? You don't look that great." Vivian remained silent and just took me from Wendy's hands. After Wendy left, she sat beside me, gently stroking my face, and said in a low voice, "I seem to feel that your love is gone." At that time, I thought she was being a bit pretentious. I gave her food, drink, and money. She didn't need to do anything, I gave her the best of everything. Of course, that included the love she mentioned. What I thought were trivial matters were as heavy as Mount Tai in her eyes. The way she looked at me became colder and colder, and I also felt that she was becoming more and more insatiable. Until a few photos appeared, becoming the last straw that broke the camel's back, severing the last thread of affection between us. She left without looking back, decisively and gracefully. I tried to retain her, said nice things, comforted her, threatened her, begged her, and finally, even using the child couldn't tie her down. I knew that from the day she walked out of that door, she no longer belonged to me. But it doesn't matter, there's plenty of time. I will spend the rest of my life making it up to her. Until she forgives me.